Sierra Leone Blood Diamonds by Carlos Hernandez. Historical context and background information. The word diamond is derived from the Greek word adamas, which means unconquerable. Corresponding to the claim, diamonds are made of pure carbon, and diamonds are the hardest natural substance known to man. Diamonds have long been a sign of wealth and fortune. Blood diamonds, also called conflict diamonds, are diamonds that are illegally mined and traded by rebel or outlaw groups in war-torn areas to fund military actions against legitimate governments. Blood diamonds are usually associated with violent conflict in African countries such as Angola and Sierra Leone. The question we will be answering today is how does and did the blood diamonds coming from African countries such as Sierra Leone, Angola, and the Congo negatively influence how the world looks at Africa in regard to their government, culture, and economy? And how did the blood diamond trade negatively affect countries abroad? Although many journalists may argue that the illicit diamond trade has only affected the African economy, others would argue that the illicit trade has affected the countries surrounding the diamond-rich areas, the people in these specific areas, and countries abroad. The diamond trade has been a major controversial issue for many years because of the fact that the diamond industry has been indirectly funding weapons and supporting violence in disputed areas in Africa and abroad. The negative impact of the diamond industry on Sierra Leone. On a paper written by Eric Johnson, it states, the Sierra Leone economy was being cheated out of millions of dollars in the form of illegal diamonds. It also claims by the 1950s, the government of Sierra Leone had virtually given up on policing the majority of its diamond industry. All foreign investors were forced to provide their own security for both their personnel and mines. One would think that Sierra Leone would be a very wealthy country by now because of their large diamond supply, but it's the exact opposite. They have not been able to capitalize in their situation because of the political unrest and violence occurring in the area, typically caused by rebels and insurgents. Therefore, it makes it harder for foreign investors to come to the country to do business with them. Sierra Leone has missed on a lot of business opportunities because of their situation. The negative impact of the diamond industry on people. According to DiamondFacts.org, conflict diamonds are being used by rebel forces to purchase weapons and fund violence and military actions against the government and oppress the people of the region. Also, according to Karine Dufka, civilians were gunned down within their houses, rounded up and massacred on the streets, thrown from the upper floors of buildings, used as human shields, and burned alive in cars and houses. They had their limbs hacked off with machetes, eyes gouged with knives, hands smashed with hammers, and bodies burned with boiling water. Women and girls were systematically sexually abused, and children and young people abducted by the hundreds. The rebels made little distinction between civilian and military targets. Thus, the rebels waged war against the civilian population through the perpetration of human rights abuses. These pieces of evidence illustrates how citizens living in Sierra Leone were dispersed and separated from family members due to extreme oppression and violence. Sierra Leoneans were forced to flee from their homes in fear for their lives. These pieces of evidence also illustrates how rebels in Sierra Leone literally used their power that were derived from diamonds to fund activities that included rape, mutilation, and many other acts that one would consider very barbaric and savage. Civilians in Sierra Leone lived under extreme oppression, and the rebels who performed these heinous and terrifying acts were funded by the diamonds found in the area. These rebels also amputated their victims for no reason, and therefore the limbless have no future since most of Africa's jobs are centered around hard labor, including farming and mining. In general, all rights given to a human were being violated during these times. This relates back to the thesis and the statement that the illicit diamond trade affected many aspects of Sierra Leone's inhabitants, because this piece of evidence illustrates how citizens living in the area were dispersed and abused. The impact of the diamond industry abroad. According to Blood Diamonds, Global Issues in Context Online Collection, the terrorist network led by Osama bin Laden struck deals in blood diamonds worth over $20 million in months before the attacks of September 11, 2001. The true size of the cash stockpile al-Qaeda has made from the stones mined illegally by Revolutionary United Front rebels in Sierra Leone. This piece of evidence illustrates how the illicit diamond trade in Sierra Leone has funded terrorist activities. In the bigger picture, the diamond trade funded probably the most significant but tragic event in the 21st century. This relates back to the thesis and the statement that the illicit diamond trade affected the world in general because this piece of evidence illustrates how the illicit diamond trade in Sierra Leone has funded terrorist activities. Also, in an article written by Eric Johnson, the United States is currently working on legislation for the Clean Diamond Act. This act would ban any diamonds that come from an unknown origin. Both the Clean Diamond Act and the Kimberlite process are an attempt to create a diamond paper trail and to eliminate conflict diamonds from the diamond markets. While these resolutions are both a good start, it is clear that it will take more for this conflict to be resolved. This piece of evidence illustrates how governments around the world are taking steps towards fixing the problems in Sierra Leone. These actions make it almost impossible for rebels in Sierra Leone to export blood diamonds because they have to be basically transparent with the origin of the diamonds. Conclusion. Diamonds are supposed to be symbols of love, commitment, and joyful new beginnings. But for many people in diamond-rich countries, these sparkling stones are more a curse than a blessing. Too often, the world's diamond mines produce not only diamonds, but also civil wars, violence, worker exploitation, environmental degradation, and unspeakable human suffering. Not long ago, the public started to become more aware that large numbers of diamonds are mined in violent and inhumane settings. Consumers are now demanding with greater urgency that their diamonds be untouched by bloodshed and human rights abuses. So far, however, the diamond industry's response has been woefully inadequate. Diamonds with violent histories are being mined and allowed to enter the diamond supply, where they become indistinguishable from other gems. Violence and injustice remain an everyday aspect of diamond mining. In just the past 2 decades, 7 African countries such as Sierra Leone have endured brutal civil conflicts fueled by diamonds. Diamonds intensify civil wars by financing militaries and rebel militias. Rival groups also fight with each other to control diamond-rich territory. The tragic result is bloodshed, loss of life, and shocking human rights abuses, from rape to the use of child soldiers. Diamonds that fuel civil wars are often called blood or conflict diamonds. Although many diamond-fueled wars have now ended, conflict diamonds remain a serious problem. In 2013, a civil war erupted in Central African Republic, with both sides fighting over the country's diamond resources. Thousands of people have died and more than a people have been displaced. In addition, past wars fueled by diamonds have taken about 3.7 million lives. Millions of people are still dealing with the consequences of these wars. Friends and family members lost, lives shattered, and physical and emotional scars that will last generations.